Hey everybody, welcome on into the Delmarva Sports Insider, the only live and local show dedicated to giving you all local sports. I'm Sports Director Brandon Bosser.
What's up, it's yours truly, sports anchor Devin J. Martin. Welcome into the show. We're midway through the season for a lot of teams. That means we had a lot of action tonight.
Yeah, we've also seen quite a few games now, so we're really starting to get a gauge on who the contenders are and who the pretenders are, who we think is going to go far in the playoffs, who still has a chance at the playoffs as well.
Yeah, we got a lot of teams that, as you said, there are some teams that I thought that were contenders. I think tonight they kind of proved to me that they're pretenders, and then there were some teams that I thought that weren't that good that kind of shut me up today with their performance.
Well, you know what? We begin with our game of the night, Dover hosting Salesianum. We're talking about contenders leading off this show, and this game lived up to the hype and then some.
Yeah, I mean, Dover's been a team we've been on since the beginning of the preseason, and we had to move them up to number one in our power rankings because of how well they performed so far to start the year. And tonight was no different. The Senators welcoming in Sally's. Now, Nashim Cosme intercepted by Nicholas Stwarowski, but the Sal's get nothing out of it. Top play nominee right there.
Yeah, top play nominee coming up right here. Watch this fake and then the hit on the outside. Dover's defense.
Oh, that's a hit stick right there.
All over the field. My goodness.
Wow, that was good. Now, Sally's did get on the board first. BJ Alanye on the running back to Benjamin Anton. The long touchdown on 3rd and long. Jaquan Kilby, see ya. Score 7-7.
Yeah, you see the explosiveness of Jaquan Kilby right here. He can change a game with his speed at any point in the game. The Senators would run the hurry-up offense to perfection in the final 2 minutes of the first half. It was all Kilby all the time. 3 plays, 3 runs, and 6 points for the Senators as they went into halftime ahead 14-7. Now, Michael Stevenson, you're about to see on your screen, number 66. Watch as he penetrates through the line and brings down the running back. And he was causing a lot of chaos in the backfield all day today. Dover forces 5 turnovers on downs in the first 3 quarters of this game. Dover's defense carried them to this win, but hey, don't count the offense out too. Dover is a very explosive team. And that defensive line was stout. They were flying all over the place. Dover wins 27-16. Very impressive win.
Yeah, that was definitely a big W for them. Now we're going to stay in the Hen Open. The Smyrna Eagles had their first home game of the season tonight, and they're also looking for their first win. I mean,
hard to believe.
Hard to believe. The 3A state champs haven't won a game, and we're in week 4 right now. But they would waste no time at all getting things going as Apple falls for the fake, then the handoff to Phoenix Henriquez, and he's off to the races. That's Smyrna's first play of the game, and what a play it was.
Hey, you know what? Smyrna's offense had a lot of troubles last week against Salesianum. Didn't score for the first 3 quarters. That wouldn't be the only touchdown for him. Drew Marks airs it out for Phoenix. Going to come down with it as he's going out of bounds. Feet stay in, and that's another touchdown for the Eagles. This game was the Smyrna show all day. There was no stopping the Eagles. This time they're in the red zone, and Christian Carroll going to run right up the middle, and they take a 3-score lead on the Jags.
Now, Apple would try to capitalize before halftime, but that Smyrna defense comes up huge. Less than a minute to go, Tristan Williams comes up with the pick. Apple didn't stand a chance. That looks like almost a pick 6. Is he going to get it? He brings it back to the it looks like the 30 or the 20. 60 yards, 70 yards. He'll have to do be satisfied with that. Smyrna picks a huge W, 48-16, their first win, and they won it in style.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised by that. 48-16 over Appoquinimink, but maybe we shouldn't. Maybe Smyrna is just that good. Well, Devin, we've got 2 superpowers in the 3A in the Hen Open this year in Delaware. So, who you got, Smyrna or Dover?
Oh, that's a really tough question. I want to say Smyrna because they are the defending 3A state champs, but an 0-3 start, you can't. I can't
against
reward them.
very tough competition.
And also, they did lose the Sallies last week, so being able to, losing that game and taking them 4 weeks before they get their first win, I just have to go with Dover. I just have to go with Dover. They did beat Sallies today, who Smyrna lost to. So they're going to face each other later in terms of Dover and Smyrna, and we'll see who really wins that game. It's not definitive yet, but I'm still leaning towards Dover. They've answered every single question so far, while Smyrna still has a few questions.
You should really go with Smyrna. so that we can disagree right now.
I can't. I have to tell the truth. I have to tell the truth. And I mean, great minds think alike. I just think that Dover, they just have all the pieces working for them in their favor right now. They don't have as many questions as Smyrna does right now. So Dover's a safe pick.
I'll take Smyrna then. I'll take Smyrna. I'll say Smyrna's better. They're the defending 3A champions. They just beat Dover 52-7 last year in the championship, even though there was no Kilby in that game. And we saw a lot of people leaving Smyrna. I see the defense coming together in the final few weeks of the season, just like last year. They lost to Middletown the first couple of weeks last year. What Mike Judy likes to do with that team is he likes to put his toughest opponents in the beginning of that schedule. They know they're going to get better as the season goes along. I don't know what they're doing at quarterback. They're going back and forth with the two quarterbacks every other drive. We'll see if they pick one or if it works for them down the stretch. But I trust a Mike Judy-led team. All right, down in the 2A, are we sleeping on Milford?
We might be. We might be. I mean, they have been on fire. They were not good last year, but last year was last year. They
we've got Jed Bell in at quarterback or at head coach with the Milford Bucks. After this game tonight, I'd say it's a resounding yes. We've been sleeping on them. The Buccaneers and Raiders squaring off. The Raiders have conquered. The Bucks were carried by their workhorse running back, Denair Horsey. He did it all for the Bucks tonight. 161 yards rushing and 2 scores. You see the second one right there. He was giving the Concord Raiders fits all night. Horsey again with that second score. The Bucks just kept running it down their throats. When the dust was all settled, it was a running clock, 35-0 as Milford goes on to win. They're 3-1 on the season.
Wow, Coach Bell has really changed things for the Bucks last year. They obviously struggled this year. They struggled last year, but now they are a completely new team. He was talking to me before the season when I was asking about what's going to be different about the Milford Bucks this year. And he was saying, building from the foundation up, starting with discipline, and really emphasizing the ground game, which has been carrying them so far in their 3 Ws.
Bucks hold Concord to just 5 first downs all night.
So great defense. When you have a great running game and a great defense, you're going to win a lot of games. Now, let's swing over to Dagsboro before a matchup between Indian River and Delmar. Now, Brandon, I say this is a key game for the home team, Indian River. A great way to see where they measure up because they're facing a 2A opponent. Obviously, they were pretty good last year. Now they're really good this year in the 1A. But if they can beat a 2A opponent, that can really show that they're nothing to be messed with at all. Now let's get to those highlights. Now, midway through the second quarter, the teams were tied at 7. The Wildcats, the Delmar Wildcats, make the move first. Khalid Schoolfield gets the handoff and powers by the corner for a huge gain deep in IR territory. And if it isn't broke, Brandon, what's the end of that phrase? If it isn't broke,
I think you don't fix it.
Yeah, don't fix it. Schoolfield had himself a night. He had a touchdown right there. Wildcats go up 14-7. Now, IR would eventually try to respond. They march downfield. They move well, but they can't finish.
Dylan Grease's pass.
Yep. Its pass is broken up into the hands of the Wildcats.
That better be a top play nominee. That was nice.
It was nice.
Volleyball out there.
But that's not the only one. We had a lot of top plays from this game. Now, unfortunately, the team got in my way. That's an 80-yard touchdown. That would have been number 1. Schoolfield takes it to the house. 80 yards. They all ran in front of me. I was so upset. He's happy, though. Delmar
You got to anticipate that, Devin. You got to get on the field.
I needed to run into the field right now. Now, Indian River strikes back. Finally, Isaiah Holbrook gets the rush for Delmar. He gets gang tackled, but Rashad Hopkins just rips the ball right out of his hand, and that's a great steal. IR is back in this game 21-14, 10 ticks left in the fourth quarter. Now they need 2 more stops. They don't get it. The Wildcats score another rushing touchdown. I think that was the Wildcats' 4th up to that point, and they were getting worked on the ground tonight. Dylan Grease throws another interception. This time it's a pick 6. Ashton Baines seals the deal. 35-14, Delmar on top.
Yeah, great win for Delmar, and hey, Indian River, that was a tough opponent. Next up, Seaford up in Dover playing early college. The Blue Jays ran through the Hornets tonight for their 2nd win of the season. They are now 2-2. There's Noah Klaglovitz running out up the middle for the score. My goodness, that was a mouthful.
Yeah, that last name was tough, almost as tough as his running name.
Seaford's defense pitches the shutout, 47-0 winners over early college tonight. And now let's go ahead and check out the other final scores from tonight. Hodson takes down Cape Penlopen 35-0.
Wow.
First 3A opponent for Cape Penlopen all season. They've played 3 2A opponents. They finally play in the 3A. 35-0.
Wow.
I don't know what to make of Cape Henlopen
And
right
I
now.
will give you credit. You have been on that train so far this fall season, where Cape Henlopen, they haven't been able to get really tested by their own class. And the second they do,
Now,
they get blown out.
I don't know
by,
how good Hodgson is. They might be contenders in the 3A. Odessa all over Sussex Tech tonight. That's Tech's first loss. And then 2 games coming up tomorrow, Howard and Lake Forest, First State Military Academy, and Polytech. We'll talk about those games a little later.
Now we're going to go to the Bay side. We've got Bennett and Parkside. They matched up earlier today. Now both squads, this was back and forth in this game. Parkside would actually take an early lead, and then Bennett would tie it up at halftime, and then Zakai Smolin would take it 80 yards to the house to give the Clippers a lead. Then the Rams take it back 14-13, and then Bennett goes up 19-14, and then finally Parkside goes up 29-19 before Bennett's kicker, Gianmarco Secondi. I don't know if I pronounced his last name right, but it was Gianmarco. Secondi, I think is how you pronounce it. He won the game with a field goal to give Bennett the W. So, yeah, they've won their second game this year. First 2-game winning season in 3 seasons.
All right, congratulations to the Bennett Clippers out there getting that win. All right, now let's move on to our next game. We've got Cambridge South Dorchester hosting Kent County tonight. Now, this game got out of hand rather quickly as Blake LaBelle was on fire against the Trojan defense. He airs it out. 40-yard bomb down the field into tight coverage. Doesn't matter. It's a touchdown for the Vikings. And when they weren't killing Kent County on offense, they were doing it on defense. Cambridge's got a pretty good team this year in the 1A.
They sure do. I mean, Kent County is not the best opponent for them to prove it against. But when you drop 50 points on a team, that has to mean something.
Yep, we saw them beat Parkside earlier. We saw them lose by 1 last week to Colonel, a very good Colonel team. Yep. That game could have gone either way. If you play 10 times, both teams win 5 each, But Cambridge South Dorchester, they win 52-0 over Kent County. Toby Pierce doing a great job up there in Cambridge.
So let's go to another 1A matchup. Snow Hill, another team that's finally up there in the 1A top cream of the crop. They were hosting Washington tonight. The Eagles had some trouble scoring in the first half, but they finally break open a couple huge plays. The Eagles reeling off 2 huge plays in the second quarter. This one, an end around that was taken to the house, and then later, with time running down on the half, the pass from Colic down the middle of the field.
Eli
3 Jags
Manning
are there.
Tyree.
Yeah, I don't know how he
Tyree
did it.
Right there.
I don't know how he did it. That's a 79-yard touchdown catch.
Yeah, with only 10 seconds left in the half, too. So that's a great way for Snow Hill to go out and go into the locker room.
Yeah, so. I mean, that was something that they used that momentum in the second quarter to carry them in the second half because they win 35-0. They're in the 1A, and they're sitting pretty 4-1.
Yep, 4-1 record for Snow Hill. They're doing great. Now, there were a couple of other games that took place last night. Let's start off with Kent Island and Y High here in Salisbury. Kent Island coming off of their first ever state championship game last year, and while they lost more than half of their starters on both sides of the ball to graduation, including Mr. Buck himself, Casey Heath, well, they have been one of the best teams in the conference once again.
Yeah, I think that's a testament to their coaching and just the culture there where they have a lot of moving pieces, but they're still able to maintain success year to year.
Gavin Henry has shown to be a very capable passer. His connection with Tucker Claxton was great last night. Check out the moves right here to get into the end zone. Tavenon Outlaw with the interception for the Y High Tribe in the second quarter. So Y High's defense playing pretty well in this game for a while, but unfortunately Kent Island was able to score a third touchdown right before half to make it 21-0. They finished off Y High 28-0 the final score, and Kent Island remains unbeaten. Last time I talked to Coach Sofanowski, he said, I really don't know what this team is right now. Well, you know what? I think they're pretty good. I think they have a chance to go far in the playoffs.
And we're going to see what they really are next week when they face Decatur. That's going to be a really great game. Now, speaking of the Seahawks, they were up the road in Easton, and Decatur's pitched 2 shutouts in a row against Bayside foes. Well, let's make that 3. I hate to be anticlimactic, but Easton's been struggling this year, and Decatur has been great this year, so you could see how easily that was going to go. That was a great pass right there by Bryson Coleman.
Look at Coleman creating that play.
Yeah, that was a great one off the scramble. He finds Zachary Baker for the touchdown, and another pass right there. I mean, he's making a lot of bombs. He was doing that last year, but when you're doing it in double coverage,
best throws of the season.
That is a great throw right there. Decatur has won their games 49-8, 35-0. 39-0 last night. 42-0. They've only given up 8 points in 4 games that they actually played, and they're 5-0. They have so many great athletes. Gavin Salito on the scoop and score. He's also one of the best wrestlers in the state. An all-around athlete. Decatur moves to 5-0 on the year. They're definitely looking like the Bayside Titans that we thought they were going to be before the start of the season.
Yep, and I can't wait for them to be tested. I really can't see how good they really are. All right, rest of the Bayside games to come. Well, both these games are being played tomorrow. North Carolina and Queen Anne's, Colonel Richardson at Lancaster in Virginia. We'll talk about that later in the show. That'll do it for the A block. We're calling our first timeout. When we return, the Smyrna Eagles are the new undisputed champions of Delaware field hockey. For now, more on their impressive win over Delmarva this week coming up on DSI.
Blake LaBelle, Cambridge South Dorchester High School. You're watching Delmarva Sports Insider.